Oh yeah, it's double organic.
Hello there! Had a video request to tell you what is in my kitchen and what sort of appliances and tools of the trade does a raw vegan need in the kitchen. So I'm going to go through all the different things that I have, categorize them, and rank them from sort of must-have, or at least is very good to have, and not so important. So dive right into that. So we'll start with the basics. Chopping, cutting. So get a nice big cutting board like this one. I like a nice big surface area to work on. But maybe if you have just a small thing you want to cut, you could have a smaller cutting board, but generally big ones are better. So definitely get a chef's knife. I do most of my cutting with my 2 chef's knife. I like the ceramic one. It's not going to oxidize anything, and so I use that for pretty much everything. But sometimes you just need a bigger knife, and because this one's super sharp, I can cut things much better with it. Also can chop really fine if I want to really chop some herbs fine. This knife is the way to go. It's nice and sharp, it'll do tomatoes, but if I want tomatoes really thin, a serrated knife is the way to go. So definitely get a serrated knife. I don't like the really jagged knives that tears. This is more of a wavy motion. That's the one you're looking for, and it's going to cut the tomato really well. If you're going to invest in a high quality knife, you definitely want a good chef's knife. You could pay more than $100 for one, although you can constantly sharpen a much cheaper one and still maintain an edge. I like these. They're like a zigzag cutter. Really good for cutting cucumbers and zucchinis, for making chips for dip, making your Ruffles chips. So get one of those if you like fancy stuff. Small knives. I never use a small knife unless I'm doing some more detailed work, some food art, cutting something to look pretty, making a flower out of a tomato, something like that. Otherwise, I use the big knives. Last but not least, a cleaver. You don't need to invest in a really expensive cleaver. Cleavers are pretty much only going to be used for coconuts. If you're not a coconut fan, you probably don't even need a cleaver. But for $20 or $30, you can get a cheaper cleaver, and you're just going to be hacking at coconuts. You don't need an expensive. I have a cheap mandolin. Doesn't even say the brand name on it. But I have used mandolins that are much more expensive, have lots of different parts. If you want the blade to change, you have to pull something out and put another one in. All these parts, you lose them. This one, I highly recommend getting a mandolin with just a dial. Turn it, and the blade changes. Turn it, and the blade changes to the different settings. And then you can fine-tune this. Fine-tune it to the different thicknesses. You can get it paper thin or whatever thickness you want. So this was like $30 or less, maybe $20. Simple is best with everything. Simple, simple, simple. Don't get all these different parts that are difficult to clean. The more simple something is, the easier it is. Now we have lots of other secondary food prep items that are very important as well. So, first of all, we'll just go what's in front of us. Measuring cups, things like that. They're always good to have, I suppose. I don't do too much measuring. I do everything freehand. Just make it up as I go along and everything seems to turn out alright. But if you like to follow recipes to a T, sure, get some measuring cups. They're not that expensive. Spiralizers, they are a great tool to make noodles and other fun salad toppings. Highly recommend spiralizers. I like the Joyce Chen spiralizer. You can see a little video review I have done on this. Spatulas. Definitely get spatulas, especially a small 1-inch one like this. Very good for getting into the blender or food processor and getting everything out, because you don't want to lose any of your nice dressings. Grater, shredder, these are always handy to have, so get one of those. A vegetable peeler. Have a nice ceramic. I call it like a shaver style because you could shave with it. I find it has much more control rather than a knife style vegetable peeler, which you're kind of peeling like that, whereas this one you're peeling like this. Always peel away from you, and you can do your carrots, cucumbers, and zucchinis, etc., but I prefer to do mangoes with this. I can peel the skin off of a mango 15 seconds per mango and get all the mango and get rid of all the skin. So it's a very efficient and effective way. Get a reen, good for juicing, getting the lemons. If ever I'm juicing a lemon or an orange real quick, this goes on top of the blender, juice, juice, juice. So these go hand in hand. And so highly recommend getting some different strainers and sieves, things like that. Here's a fine mesh one. These bigger ones, good for straining excess water out of your marinara sauces, things like that. So definitely recommend strainers. You don't need 100 of them, but get 1 or 2. Nut milk bags, they're kind of gimmicky, not overly necessary, but good for making things like coconut milk. So you can decide on that. They're pretty cheap. They're only $10 or so. Oh, this is heavy. Mortar and pestle, good for weightlifting. Maybe you can defend yourself, or you can make some guacamole with it, crush up some herbs, dried herbs and spices. That would of course require a dehydrator, which I'll mention later. And but you could also do that with a blender, high-powered blender. Not the most important thing, but you may want to have one. So the option is there. And salad spinners. We eat a lot of salad. Get a big salad spinner. This one, it's alright, but I would possibly suggest getting even a commercial, the smallest commercial salad spinner that you can get. And that way it's a bit more heavy duty, and I think they're rated for somewhere between 2 to 4 heads of lettuce for the industrial ones. That way you can make enough for you. Alright, so hope that helps. Fruit, 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 and veggies, even though they are fruit. Lots of fruit. Cases of fruit. And lots of leafy greens. That is the most important thing that should be in your kitchen or somewhere in your house. You don't need nuts and seeds and oils and processed junk, salt, namashoyu, agave, cacao, maca, all these things that are not even raw. Get them out. Just simplify it. Fruits and veggies. Alright.
Hello, I'm Chef Kozak. My book is full of secrets.
Oh, my brakes don't work.